All right, we live with it. What's up, y'all? What up, what up, what up, what up? What's up, y'all? Pull up to the stream. Pull up, pull up, pull up. We got another banger of a stream lined up for today. Today is day 2 of the Young Thugger YSL RICO trial. We're going to cover the defense opening statements. If you missed yesterday's day 1 from the complete shit show from the prosecutors on their opening statements, that video and all of that is up on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/djmoondawglive. You can check out the stream highlights. Oh, it got to the point where the judge even went in and chewed all of the lawyers' asses out. Pretty wild one, man. Today, we're going to follow up and get into the defense, see what Young Thug's lawyer has to say and all of that stuff. If you haven't already done so, check out the latest reel/TikTok that went up about the dude with his drawing, 5-year drawing skills. It's pretty funny. Hopefully you guys are enjoying that one. And with that being said, let's do the goddamn roll call. Check in. Where are you checking in from? What city, state, country? I know we're global with it. Let me know where you're watching from so I can shout you out. And if it's your first time here, say, yo, what's up, Moon? So I can say hello right back to you. Goju's in the building. What's up, bro? We're live on all platforms, IG, TikTok, YouTube, and of course, my main streaming platform, y'all. Coming over to kick.com/djmoondawglive, all right? Tulsa, Oklahoma in the building. Cali's in the building. Chicago. Yo, what's up? Chicago fam. What part of the city you from, man? Okez, 58. What's up? BX Danny's checking in. What's up, bro? BX Danny, of course, from BX Bronx. Yo, Churn, what's up? Where you been at? Churn, bring your ass over to Kick with the rest of us. Sup Moon from Martinique. Yo, what's up, Jan? Thank you for joining us, man. I heard that is a beautiful country. Zeppelin, another Chicago fam in the building. What's up, man? Love to see my Chicago family in here. What's up, Moon? What's the court case again? Barra, it's going to be the RICO trial against Young Thug and the rest of his crew. This is going to be day 2. We're going to get the defense speaking up. My boy Josh is in the building from VA, 2 up, 2 down, representing, man. What's up, brother? Ali checking in on that TikTok. What's up, bro? How you doing, man? San Jose's in the building, 408. Shout out to 408. Sup from Oxnard, California. Where the fuck is Oxnard at? Where else are we checking in from, man? Wonder Boy, Dub. Yo, is that the Wonder Boy? Like, where you been at, dog? What's up, man? Where else are we from? Where else are we from? Check in, check in, check in. Anybody else? Moon, I sent you a reels and messages. I don't know if you can check them. I'll have to check it later, brother, since we're live right now. New York, what's up? Noe, what's up, bro? Brooklyn, BK. Hey, did they gentrify the hell out of that place yet or what? Ali checking in from Canada. Shout out to Canada. Carlos checking in from PR. Burto from Chino, California. I think I know where that is. Yonkers is in the house. Some more NY deep today, man. Mrs. Pizana, hello from Goshen, Indiana. Okay, Midwest fam. You right down. Well, I don't know where Goshen is. I'm in Chicago, but where's Goshen? You like by Indianapolis? I never heard of that place. Stuff from Micronesia. Yo, Ching, what's up, bro? Damn, that's crazy. You're all wrong. It is incredible how we live in a world where you could talk to people from the opposite end of the world. Isn't that incredible, y'all? That is truly one of the greatest things that society have developed, is the ability to talk, connect, kick it with, laugh with, argue with people from around the world. You know what I mean? Lil Door, what's up? What's up? You just start? Yeah, we just started the stream, bro. If you're on TikTok, do me a favor, man. Make sure you spam the likes on the streams. TikTok does not send my streams out to my followers. It's crazy. I think I'm shadow banned. Have to be. Philippines is checking in. Santa Barbara's checking in. Seattle, let's go. Tizzle, what's up? Allentown, PA's in the building. Gregory, what's up, man? Micronesia's in the Pacific Ocean. Yes, it is. Whew. You out there all alone, bro. Is it early morning there? It is. No, it is almost 7:30 p.m. Just about in Chicago. Wonder Boy, I've been good, man. Good to see you. How the hell did you find me over here? Jersey, Charlotte, North Carolina. Hey, man, listen. Thank you all for joining me on this stream, man. I appreciate it. All right, let's jump right into it. .305 is in the building, representing that Miami. Checking in from Berlin. You ain't in no Berlin, boy. What you talking about? We ready to laugh. Well, today, look, guys, today's not going to be a laughing stream. We're watching the trial. So if you are into, like, court dramas, you're gonna like this. Yesterday, the judge right here, who, by the way, somebody in the stream yesterday mentioned that he reminds us of Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince, and like, dude, he passed away, which is so sad, but he does remind me of Uncle Phil. I can't unsee it. 2 hours away from Chicago. Oh, okay, so like you're like middle of Indiana ish. Nice. I'm talking about the other side of the world. Oh, I don't know. Where are you at, Shern? 559 in the house. What's up, bro? You got a oh, you're on the YouTube note. Got it. Yo, the judge does look like Uncle Phil, man. Rest in peace. All right, let's kill the music. All right, y'all, here we are. Day 2 of the opening statements. Yesterday, we saw the complete debauchery and debacle of the prosecution botching their opening statements. It got to the point where the judge yelled in like court speak, right? Yelled at all of the lawyers from screwing up and threatened to bar all of them from using slideshows in their opening statements, which is a big deal for these lawyers. Anyway, those videos are up on the YouTube channel on djmoondawglive. Check those guys, check those out because it's crazy. Here we are, day 2 opening statements. It's still the opening statements. This time it's the defense lawyers, and we're gonna check in with Young Thug's lawyer, Attorney Steele is his name, and see what they're going to say as far as their opening statements here for the defense. So let's go ahead and jump into this, y'all, and see what happens. All right. As soon as we figure out why we're not getting audio, what? Hold on one second, y'all. Let's check this real quick. Okay, output, input. This looks good. Are they not sending audio through? All right, there we go. Okay, they just didn't have audio playing. I was bugging out. I thought it was me. All right, let's take a look and see what happens here.
Y'all sound good. You ready to get started? Okay, all right. Without further delay, Mr. Steele, you ready to make your opening statement, sir?
This courtroom audio is trash. So bad. It's only come out of one side of the speaker. Yeah, it sounds mono as hell. Yeah, it does. I thought it was supposed to be funny. The funny videos are on the page, bro. The streams are not that. Not always, anyway. Sorry to disappoint. Look at him taking a deep breath. We're gonna start this or what? All right, let me pause it because we're about to start this. Are we good? All right, I'm new here. What's this trial about? This is the Young Thug trial, the RICO case against Young Thug and a bunch of other people in this alleged gang, YSL. And this is going to be the defense attorney for Young Thug. This is actually Young Thug's attorney going to make his opening statements for the defense here. All right, but just real quick because I saw a comment about that. Shout out to Noah. Guys, I know I post funny videos. The live streams are not always going to be just sitting here watching those videos. I just post those up as standalone videos. The live streams are going to be very different. They're going to be a bunch of different stuff. Some days we'll watch, like, because this is an important thing happening right now, especially for the hip hop world with the trial, we'll watch this. Other days it could be a police body cam video. Other days it could be a street interview, a dating video, a game show. Like, it's a bunch of different stuff that we'll go through and check out, stuff like that. So if you're only here expecting me to just sit here and watch reels all day, I'm sorry. You just go back and watch my reels or TikToks and do it that way, because that's not what I'm always doing. All right, Rican, what's up? Tickle My Pickle, what's up? His head's still shinier than SI Simpson model. It's stupid. Your channel's your channel. Do you think? Appreciate that, Scott. Yeah, no, I know. I just gotta clarify that because I think people have certain expectations and stuff like that, and you know what I'm saying. I just want to be clear about that so people aren't disappointed and shit. So. Yo, Chris, what's up, man? Welcome. All right, let's do this. Guys, opening statements, day 2 of the trial, and Young Thug's lawyer is up on deck to present their opening statements and arguments, I believe. So let's find out how this is going to go. Day one was a complete mess with the prosecution botching their entire opening statements, and there's a lot of issues with that. The judge chewed all the lawyers out in court about this. Let's see if today's any better.
Happy holiday season to everyone.
Thank you.
Jeffrey Williams was born into an environment,
Thank you, Chris.
community, a society that was filled with depression, despair, hopelessness, and helplessness. He was born and raised in the Jonesboro South housing projects. That's here in Southeast Atlanta. It's a very small 3-bedroom apartment. He lived with his 4 brothers in one of the small bedrooms. His 6 sisters lived in the other small bedroom, and his mother lived in her small bedroom. In the wintertime, it was freezing. In the summertime, it was scorching.
He's painting the picture for Young
There was
Thug.
not that much money to go around to pay for utilities.
So what he's doing right here, y'all, any decent defense lawyer, he's trying to paint a picture and tell a story of like who Young Thug is and humanize him. He's trying to humanize him and tell a story of like what he went through growing up, so that it latches on to the jurors. It's definitely an emotional strategy to connect and humanize your client and all that. So he's gonna tell like this backstory and how he came up and all that stuff.
The refrigerator
MDJ, thank you, bro.
and the cabinets hardly ever had any healthy food, and sometimes no food at all.
We're gathered here today.
In order to have the appearance of being able to wear different clothing,
They gotta fix this audio. It's so bad.
Jeffrey would share clothing with his brothers and sisters, neighbors, and friends in the community. And although the clothing was oftentimes dirty, at least it gave the appearance that he can have a different look from the day before. When Jeffrey would exit into the community, most homes' windows were boarded up. There were burglar bars on every entrance. Litter. It was not uncommon to find shell casings and human blood remains from the shootings that occurred. There was glass on the ground from the broken window of the cars. The cars are gone. In this environment of severe poverty, severe crime, Jeffrey developed 2
Angel, thank you.
deep,
What's up, Monica?
embedded beliefs about our criminal justice system. The first one is that it is not justice. Our criminal justice system was not just, at least for people that he saw. Jeffrey would see over and over again people in the neighborhood who were known to be the liars. These are the people that would lie to their kids,
Alex, thank you, bro.
lie to their mothers, lie to their brothers and sisters, and then somehow those people would be used by prosecutors, allowed to come before judges.
You calling out the snitches?
They would have reduced charges,
Yep, calling out the
reduced
snitches.
prison sentences, reduced probationary sentences, no charges at all, on their oath that they come in the courtroom
She about to object.
to tell the God's honest truth.
Your Honor,
You have an objection, ma'am?
I have an objection.
What's your basis?
Your Honor, I'd rather approach and not speak it out loud in front of the jury.
Say that.
It will take 1 second.
All right.
Thank you.
If I put your listen device on, please.
Come on, man. Like, why don't you just make the objection so we can all hear it out loud? It's so corny, man. This prosecutor, she fumbled yesterday. So he's definitely trying to paint the picture of humanizing Young Thug. By the way, if you're just pulling up the stream, we're watching the Young Thug Day 2 opening statements trial. This is actually Young Thug's lawyer making his opening statements. He's painting the picture of Young Thug coming up in the hood in the poverty lifestyle, trying to humanize him with the jurors who I would willing to bet quite a few of them are on there that can relate to that upbringing. You know what I'm saying? That grew up in poverty themselves. So it makes that connection that, like, I understand what he came through and the system he was, came up on. So there's that part of it. And then he shifted and started painting the picture of all the rats that are cooperating, that swear they're coming to tell the truth on the stand in exchange for a more lenient sentencing and all that stuff. So he's really setting it up. I like what he's doing so far, to be honest with you. Abigail, what's up? From U of I, Urbana. What's up? How's life downstate? Let's see what happens here. I don't know if we're gonna know exactly what they're gonna say here or anything. We'll find out. Go fight in a line. What are you majoring in? Product of the environment. Yes. Can you put the court audio up? Yeah, I could turn it up. Guys, the audio is bad on their end. The audio is captured in mono, and it's only coming out of the right earphone, the right side, which is weird. So that's not the stream. It's just how they recorded the audio from the courtroom. Kind of is what it is. BK, thank you, brother. What's up? I don't want to close the video and look up Young Thug. He's from Chicago. No, Thug is from Atlanta. He's a very popular rapper until he got into this situation. There he is right there. We'll see what happens if he's able to continue telling the story of snitches. Man gained weight. Yeah. Thug got a little bit bigger. The thing about it is it doesn't look like he got bigger like muscles from like lifting weights. It looks like he got bigger like he's eating good in prison. He's being charged on the RICO case.
That these liars, these snitches.
So the judge must have overruled her objection because he came right back in and he just said, "These snitches." Ooh. All right. I think he won that one. Let's go. These rats.
They would come into the courtroom.
Yo, he's going
take
in.
A witness stand to tell the God's honest truth. They were still the same liars. And they would testify against people accused of crimes.
He going in.
Jeffrey thinks that the entire justice system is corrupt. It should be blown up. And everybody who feeds into that are awful people, stealing lives away from others. The next abiding belief that Jeffrey had growing up is his despise for the police. He would see people walking on the streets. This could be an adult, teenager, a child. Wearing their backpacks, holding a football, bouncing a basketball, and the police just swarm in. They're aggressive. They search the backpack. They throw the football over the house. They kick the basketball down the road. It got to the point when people saw the police coming, they just ran.
Painting the picture that the police are evil.
Different experiences in different parts of America. It's different experiences in different parts of Atlanta.
Fair. That's a fair statement.
Jeffrey would be driving with his sister, youngest sister Dora. They're about a year apart. Dora is younger than Jeffrey. She's the youngest of 11 children of Jeffrey's mother. Jeffrey's the second youngest. He's the youngest young man. Those two, Dora and Jeffrey, are the same father. None of the other 11 children of Jeffrey's mother share the same father.
11 kids is
And Dora and
crazy.
Jeffrey would be driven, get pizza, by their dad, and constantly. The car would be stopped for a window tint violation, a failure to maintain a lane, failure to use a turn signal, illegal left turn. His father would be handcuffed and sat on the curb, Jeffrey and Dora on the other side of the curb, the police rummaging through the car, saying, if we find anything, these kids are going to DFACS custody. That's how he grew up. But what really solidified Jeffrey's distrust for the police happened 3 days before his 9-year-old birthday. Jeffrey's born on August 16th of 1991. We are now August 13th of 2000. Jeffrey's older brother, they called him Beanie. He was 20 years of age, 11 years older than Jeffrey. He's shot in the chest. He collapses outside, not far from Jeffrey's apartment. The neighborhood comes out. Jeffrey and his family come out. They're praying over Beanie. It's going to be okay. There's help on the way. 911 was called. And what seemed forever, when the police finally did arrive, they didn't go immediately to Beanie. They had to push back the crowd. Jeffrey's mother was hysterical. She was screaming for her child to survive. The police handcuffed Jeffrey's mother, put her on the ground. And when they finally went to Beanie, put a sheet over his face, Beanie was dead to the police, even though his chest was still going up and down, he still breathed. The Jonesboro South housing projects were closed by the city of Atlanta in the year 2007. Jeffrey's now 16 years of age. His family was displaced. They were scattered. Most of them, not all of them, reunited and were now living in the Cleveland Avenue area. Jeffrey was not educated in his home about go to university, work as a flight attendant for Delta. Somebody would loan you money so you could start a business. Jeffrey believed that the only two ways he can break the generational hopelessness and despair for his family, himself, and he wanted to break it for as many people as he could who were in this struggle, was to be a professional athlete or an accomplished musical artist. Jeffrey chose the latter. And from that day forward, every week, every month, every year, to this day, Jeffrey practices to make himself a better musical artist. In Jeffrey's neighborhood, rap, it's a subset of hip-hop. Gangster rap is a subset of rap. That was the most popular music at that time. So Jeffrey sought to find out how can he accomplish his mission to be a successful rapper. So he had the internet. They were poor, but they had phones with the internet. So he would Google and look up and get on social media every accomplished rap artist and see what made them special. And Jeffrey would listen to beat after beat after beat. These are billions of musical chords that he listened to. And he tried and he forced himself to be able to speak fast within the beat and rhyme words. Jeffrey can't sit there and write out the words. He doesn't spell well. But he can listen and learn and look up what words mean, or just make up words.
Make up words.
To put them into the beat. And Jeffrey studied 2 rap artists, particularly.
Wayne? And
He idolized
who? Wayne?
a gentleman named Dwayne
Yeah.
Carter. His performing name is Little Wayne. Jeffrey also idolized Tupac. And Jeffrey looked at what is Little Wayne doing that's making him so successful, because Little Wayne is right before Jeffrey. He is born on September 27th of 1982. He's 9 years older than Jeffrey. And Little Wayne, by the time that Jeffrey came along, has exploded. He is a superstar.
It's true.
And Little Wayne changed the culture.
It's true.
It was more than just the sound of the music. Now, Jeffrey studied Little Wayne so much, he sounded like Little Wayne. You're going to hear witness after witness that Jeffrey sounded just like Little Wayne.
He really did. Early
Jeffrey
on, he really did.
realized that Little Wayne had a following, a fan base. And people who dressed like Little Wayne. It used to be that rappers wore baggy pants, big uniforms from teams. Little Wayne changed it. He wore proper fitting pants. Little Wayne tattooed his face. He's the first one. Jeffrey has tattoos on his face.
Wait, can we fact check that? Was Wayne the first rapper to have his face tatted? That's a stretch. We'd have to dig that one up. I saw a comment saying that it was pretty creative of him to reverse engineer Wayne. That's pretty creative thinking. I think that's a good point. He definitely kind of came in, and that's when, I mean, I remember on radio and first getting a Thug record, and I was like, this ain't Wayne? Because he definitely sounded like that. And I think maybe at that point, he was giving people some of the early Wayne feeling, because at that point where Wayne was popping, when Thug was coming up, Wayne already started switching kind of some of his style up a little bit, and people were kind of yearning for like that old Wayne, I think. So that could have worked in his favor. Either way, yeah, it's pretty genius, whether it was intentional or not, how he went about that. By the way, if you're just pulling up to the stream, we're watching the day 2 opening statements. This is Young Thug's lawyer making his opening statement. So far, just to kind of recap this quickly. And by the way, guys, in chat, as we're doing this live, if people come in asking what's going on, please somebody just message them, like at them and tell them what's going on, because I won't have to keep stopping as people come in saying what we're watching. So let people know what we're doing if they ask. He's already doing a really good job of humanizing Thug, Young Thug, and telling the story of his upbringing, what he went through, the trials and tribulations, how he saw a way out of endemic poverty, which was through rap and music. And he also took those major shots at the witnesses that are going to testify on the state's behalf, aka snitches and rats, as he called them. So I really like what he's doing. You know, if you noticed yesterday from what the prosecutor did, the prosecutor was very bullet point. We already know it was a botched opening statement. There was a lot of issues with it and became a big issue for the judge. However, if you just were to look at what she ended up saying, it was very to the point. Bullet point 1, they're accused of this. We're going to prove that. It's very cold and dry. Whereas the defense is really trying to pull at the heartstrings of the jurors so that the jury is empathetic to his client. And this is, like, again, I'm not a lawyer, but this is, in my opinion, looks like great lawyering. What a defense lawyer should be doing to make your client look, humanized, because if imagine if you're sitting there being charged for murder, if you don't humanize your client to the jury, they're just gonna be like, that's a murderer. But now if you tell a story about how you grew up and you was so bad and rough and you were beat down and people might start feeling sympathetic to how you got here. You might not completely get you off the hook, but maybe it leads to a different kind of outcome.
Jeffrey changed the clothing. He took what Lil Wayne did, and Jeffrey wore tight-fitting pants. He's the first. He did that because when he would take his ill-fitting clothing from his sisters, they were tight jeans. Jeffrey wore tight necklaces. He wore dresses. He realized in order to become successful and to accomplish his mission of breaking those bonds, he had to capture people's experiences and make it interesting, both musically and creating a brand. He's advertising. Jeffrey was called Little Jeff. His father is Jeffrey Williams Sr. He was called Big Jeff. But Jeffrey is sounding like Lil Wayne. He's trying to emulate Lil Wayne on social media. He called himself Little Jeff and Lil Wayne. He thought that doesn't sound too good.
He didn't help himself by not changing his appearance. He should look like a choir boy. I mean.
So Jeffrey wanted to have a performing name. So he looked to Tupac. You will learn that in 1983, the incomparable talent Michael Jackson released a song. It went around the globe. P.Y.T. Pretty Young Thing. About 13 years later, Tupac is featured on a song with Smooth. And that song is P.Y.T. Playa, P-L-A-Y-A, Young Thugs. And on that song there's a repeat of words. And this really connected with Jeffrey.
Pac, one of the masters, yeah.
Man that not too many understand. That's what Jeffrey felt about people with nice color skin. Jeffrey had interest in women, but he never considered himself a player. A player to Jeffrey was somebody who had the girls kind of coming at them at all times. Jeffrey wasn't like that. Jeffrey was shy. He was really tall and really skinny. He was malnourished. His teeth were rotten. There was no money to go to a dentist. And all the sugar from the candy that he ate to keep substance in his body rotted his teeth. So Jeffrey would speak by covering his teeth with his lips, or often speak like this, with his hand or his arm over his teeth, because he had low self-esteem.
Damn,
he was made fun of and bullied growing up.
They really paint the picture that he had it tough. I'm not saying he did it, but like he's really telling all the stuff about, you know, if Thug were to be interviewed in traditional media or whatever, you would never hear these stories of him saying, yeah, you know, I was malnourished. I never really had bitches because I was skinny, lanky. My teeth were rotted. That's information he would never voluntarily give up. Yet in court, it's, hey, his lawyer probably like, you better tell me every deep, dark secret about the struggles and your, like, I need all of that so I can build this story up. I got to tell the story. And this is real, you know, if I'm sitting there listening as a juror, I'm resonating with this. Like, damn, man, you done had it kind of tough growing up. You know what I'm saying? You've been through some stuff. So again, he's really on top of things. You know what I'm saying? Yo, Quinn, what's up, man?
So
Salty, what's up?
The player. That was not
MJ's, what's up?
But he kept the young thugs. He got rid of the S, and he became a performer, young thug. And from that day forward, he insisted everybody call him Young Thug. On every type of tweet, Facebook, social media of any kind, on any records, he refers to himself as Young Thug. And that fit in to the appearance of the gangster rap. Because most people think about a thug as a criminal. But to Jeffrey, thug had a different meaning. Now, some of you read books about Tupac and what it meant to be thug life. Thug life, the hate you give little infants, Fs, everyone. Meaning discrimination and racism hurts all of us. We teach that to our kids. That was not what thug meant to Jeffrey. Thug meant and means to Jeffrey something very personal. It was his path that if he could ever make it as a musical artist and help his family, himself, and his many others out of this endless cycle.
Yo, Quinn.
Hopelessness. He would be truly humble.
Quinn, thank you so much for that, bro. You're a legend.
God. That's what thug means.
Wait, what did he just say thug means?
That was not going to work for him. But he kept the young thugs. He got rid of the S. And he became a performer, young thug. And from that day forward, he insisted everybody call him Young Thug. On every type of tweet, Facebook, social media of any kind, on any records, he refers to himself as Young Thug.
Young Thugger.
And that fit in to the appearance of the gangster rap. Because most people think about a thug as a criminal.
It's true. That's the most commonly associated.
Jeffrey, thug had a different meaning. Now, some of you read books about Tupac and what it meant to be thug life. Thug Life, the hate you give little infants F's everyone, meaning discrimination and racism hurts all of us. We teach that to our kids.
Jen, what's up? Where you been at? Jonathan, what's
That
up?
was not
You remember Raven?
what Thug meant to Jeffrey.
No.
Thug meant and means to Jeffrey something very personal. It was his path that if he could ever make it as a musical artist and help his family, himself, and his many others out of this endless cycle of hopelessness, he would be truly humble under God. That's what Thug means.
Truly humbled under God? Hey, I like it. Wait a minute, I like that. That's not a bad little come up right there. Now, who says, I don't ever recall in any past interviews Thug ever saying that that's what Thug stood for. But goddamn, this is some hell of a lawyering. This is some hell of a lawyering right here. I'm telling you right now. If this lawyer just came up with this, like, we got to come up with an abbreviation, like we got to come up with this Thug, what it means to separate it from the connotation of Thug meaning criminal to Thug meaning godly. It's creative. You know what I'm saying? Becky, what's up? Good to see you. Quentin, thank you again for that galaxy, bro. You're a legend. Thank you for the support. Get him to trademark that phrase. Yeah, that needs to be immediately trademarked. An acronym. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah, whatever. You know what I'm trying to say, man. All right. Salty, what's up? All right, let's continue. He knows how to do his job right. Yeah. Well, he's getting paid a lot of money. He has to.
He's talented.
Ouch.
He worked so hard, he'd outwork everyone. He would stay up all night after night trying to rhyme words, put him to beats. When he had time and the opportunity to go into a studio, he wouldn't leave. He is a prolific creator of music. The neighborhood realized his talent. He was the best rapper in the neighborhood. So Jeffrey was invited to the underage clubs to perform. And he would be the introductory entertainer. He would be able to perform 5 or 10 minutes, $50, get paid $100 sometimes. He's about 17 years old, 2008, 2009. When Jeffrey would leave the establishment, he'd get robbed. And the money was gone. And that money may not be a lot of money for some of you in 2008 or 9, but to Jeffrey, it was food. It was meals for him and his family. The next time Jeffrey went for an event, he did not get armed robbed. There's a man in the community who's a man of influence in the community. He was allegedly the leader of Raise on Cleveland, the supposed gang, rock crew. He was supposedly the leader of the Bloods in that area in Cleveland Avenue. His name is Quentin Porter. Goes by Boo or Big Boo.
What's up, Tara?
And when Jeffrey comes to make the performance, he's no longer there for 5 or 10 minutes. He is the lead performer. He's going to go last. As the time went on, the neighborhood got behind Jeffrey. The rock crew, the Bloods, the whole neighborhood They would put up signs on the post, come out tomorrow night. Watch our own young thug perform at this establishment. The place is sold out now. This is no longer 25, 35 people. There are hundreds of people in the club. There are hundreds of people in the parking lot trying to get into the club. There are hundreds of people backing up in the streets, all to see Young Thug. The people who own these establishments are making money. They are attracting customers. Word gets out. Jeffrey's no longer just performing in the area that he grew up in the poverty-stricken area. He's now in Atlanta, South Georgia, Alabama, Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina.
He had a meteoric rise for sure.
Tennessee.
When Thug blew up,
He is performing all of the time.
it was really special. I remember that. I was there for
By
it.
2011, Jeffrey released his first album. It's entitled, I Came From Nothing. And yes, he speaks about killing 12 and people being shot and drugs and drive-by shootings. This is the environment that he grew up in. These are the people he knew. These are the stories he knew. These are the words that he rhymed. This isn't a ballad or a book. These are phrases in a song. And whatever the listener takes from it, you will learn that's what the song means. This is art. This is freedom of speech in America.
What's up, Rex? This is freedom of speech. Yes, I agree.
As the years go on,
Which, by the way, let me pause on that point right there. If you don't know, one of the big reasons this is something that's watched, and I talk to all my peers in the music industry, executives at labels and all the stuff, and even people on radio still are keeping an eye on this trial, is because somehow the prosecution has been allowed to enter into evidence actual song lyrics, which I don't know how it's not protected as free speech. It's art. You know what I mean? To use his own lyrics used against him. So keeping an eye on how this plays out and what happens when they introduce the lyrics as evidence is something that everyone's watching, because if it flies and it's a big reason why he's convicted because of the lyrics, jurors believed it and all that stuff, that can have serious implications for all of rap, especially. You know what I'm saying? Every rapper could now probably get charged and they're going to use the lyrics against them. Well, you said you dropped 10 bodies and you must have did it. That was you. You know what I'm saying? So there's like a really big, there's really a lot of eyes on this, not just from the Young Thug fans, but from the industry, from the music industry, because it's like, this is a freedom of speech. It's an art, for it to be allowed into evidence is kind of crazy. I really don't even know the legalese behind it, how that was allowed, but God, we need an actual lawyer to hop on with us to break that one down for sure. You know what I'm saying? It'll silence others too. Yeah. It's not good that is allowed, in my opinion. Feels like I'm watching an episode of Power Book. You can be all prolific and talented, but still wrap it up with some sociopathic killer vibes too. A bit stupid to try to use the lyrics against him, though. I mean, if they set this precedent, that's just it. I think that's the concern, is that it sets a precedent that then could be used for other. Because think about it then. All it takes is if they don't like whatever artist, they're just gonna use it to go after them. You know what I mean? You already know in New York they have a whole dedicated unit of police to rappers and music. There's like I forgot what they call it. There's a name for them. Maybe somebody in chat knows, but there's a dedicated unit in New York that all they do is like follow and surveil, and they just focus on rappers, try to bust rappers and some shit. It's crazy.
2013.
Rex, what's up?
2014. Jeffrey's now 22, 23. It's unbelievable. He has 3 hit songs that are going around the world. Stoner, Danny Glover,
Stoner.
and Lifestyle.
But hey, Lifestyle. Come on, man. Come on, man. How many of y'all were? Because I don't know how many were like. What year did that song come out? Early 2010s. I'm telling you, that song was a monster record. I was playing it on the radio nonstop. It was a banger. We were doing summertime Chicago. We was on boat, like the boat cruises and stuff, all white parties. My lifestyle. Y'all, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how many of y'all lived when that was going on. Some of y'all might be younger. I don't know how many Gen Zers are in here, but like if you was like a millennial or Xer, you was, hey, that was a banger. You know what I'm saying? The rap intel unit. Yeah, something like that.
He is making music videos professionally. He is working with some of the biggest artists in hip-hop. It worked. It's unbelievable. He is not running this criminal street gang in Cleveland Avenue area of Cleveland to gain property, money, or power. Jeffrey Williams did it on will and hard work and determination without anybody's help, except the people from that area that he will not turn his back on. By 2014, to today, you will learn. Jeffrey Williams has been nominated and won and recognized MTV, United Kingdom, American Soul Train Music Awards. He is a Grammy Award winner.
It's the courtroom audio sounds bad, y'all. It's not the stream.
SSL Awards,
It's the courtroom
BET
audio.
Awards, Billboard Music Awards. Every single year since 2014, that's what he has accomplished. He is not sitting there telling people to kill people. He doesn't need their money. Jeffrey's worth tens of millions of dollars. Jeffrey has been a sponsor for Puma, Calvin Klein. He has been featured on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine, GQ magazine.
Much love, Hydro. Thank you.
XXL magazine, Paper magazine, Complex magazine, Variety Interview magazine. He is at the top of his craft. Jeffrey is so talented in music, he doesn't only do gangster rap. He does rap, gangster rap. He has hits in country music, popular music or pop music, Latin music, Afro, beats. He's been featured on NPR, Tiny Desk. He's played numerous times on Saturday Night Live, Jimmy Fallon Show. Jeffrey has performed in almost every continent on the earth. He's performed in front of more than 300,000 people that come for him. His social media feed has more than 10 million followers. He's not the creator.
So what he's doing right here, which I think is also important, it's not to flex, but it's trying to show that he has so much built up and essentially has so much to lose that this can't possibly be something that he would do. Why would he, someone that worked from the gutter? This is a beautiful story, guys. If you're following along, like Steele, his attorney right here, Steele, is setting this up so beautifully. he outlines the foundation, which was a terrible upbringing, poverty, right? He finally makes it. Now he has all these accolades, all these #1 hits across genres, performing in front of hundreds of thousands of people. So why would he do all this dumb shit when he is elevating himself outside of it and has a lot to lose? That's the story he's painting here to the jury, and it's actually really well done so far.
He's trying to pull people out of poverty. Jeffrey has performed with the likes of Rihanna, Ed Sheeran, Sir Elton John, Drake, everybody in music. And Jeffrey didn't only stay in music. He did fashion. He's an icon in fashion. He has been to Paris, to Spain, all over Europe, at the fashion shows. He has his own clothing lines. People are walking around the earth today with Jeffrey's picture tattooed on their calves, on their shoulders. They have his lyrics on their bodies. YSL, when Jeffrey was coming up and making it, Little Wayne had and repped, talked about Cash Money Records. That's his label. Jeffrey's friends in Cleveland Avenue, they call themselves YSL. Because on the pants, the tight-fitting pants, the women's pants that they're wearing, it says YSL, Yves Saint Laurent. That's where that comes from.
YSL, I mean, they make fantastic colognes and perfumes. Personally, I like their stuff.
Jeffrey stands before you, charged with some of the most serious crimes in the state of Georgia. I'd like to go through with you each and every crime that he's charged with in the indictment. The indictment's thick. You're going to have it. At the end of the case, the Honorable Judge Granville will give it to you. You should read it. It's the charging document. It is critical in the case. There are many counts. Most of them Jeffrey's not charged with. But everybody, there were 28 people who the prosecution, through the grand jury, indicted together. They're all in count 1. That's why this is a joint trial, because everyone's in count 1. That was the decision of the prosecutors. You will learn that Jeffrey doesn't even know most of the people in this indictment. He doesn't know them. They all know him because everybody in that area knows Jeffrey Williams. He is known as the Michael Jordan of that area. And he didn't get out and stay away. He tries to come back and give people hope because he knows what it is to be depressed, hungry, and have nothing going for you. The first count
Remy, what's up?
is a RICO conspiracy. And the supposed objective that the prosecution charged is that Jeffrey, along with others, had a meeting in the mind. They had an agreement. They have an agenda together.
Right, they conspired.
And that they wanted to preserve and protect and enhance the reputation, the power, the territory of YSL. That's the allegation. Jeffrey hasn't lived in the Cleveland Avenue area in a decade. More. He has homes from Los Angeles to Atlanta. but they charge him with he wants the reputation, power, territory of the enterprise by obtaining money, weapons, or other property. Jeffrey needs no money from somebody on robbing someone of a car or doing a $30 drug deal or even $100 million drug. He's got his own source of legitimate income. So RICO conspiracy, there are then what's called overt acts. The judge will charge you on the law. But there are 191 overt acts. And those are separate instances that the prosecution said they're going to prove. Most of them don't include Jeffrey. But the ones that do, I'd like to go through with you. And I've broken it up into 3 categories. Because an overt act can be a crime. It doesn't have to be a crime, so I then wrote chats, social media, any type of statement, because the prosecution has been investigating Jeffrey for a decade. They have all of his personal chats. You think you're talking to somebody on Facebook in a personal chat? They have all of his thoughts. They put these in the indictment. The third category are lyrics.
This is going to be the one I'm interested in.
Go through them with you. First is going to be supposed crime.
Hold on. Somebody said in chat, I think the only way they can use the lyrics against him is if it's relevant in terms of authenticity of said crimes. So theoretically, it won't really set a blanket precedent. Okay. Yeah, you know, I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but my thought process here is it just seems very weird how that was allowed in. And I mean, hell, right? Couldn't you just take anything you said in the lyric? Like I guess the issue for me, and I think for many people with this, is that this is entertainment. Technically, like music is entertainment, right? So artists are going to embellish in their music, and this is across genres, right? Country and rap and pop and all that. They're going to embellish on stuff to make the record, you know, and make it seem bigger than what it is, whatever. So my thought process in saying that is, you know, if artists are embellishing in their songs or being extra or just trying to make it appear bigger than what it is, for the lyric purposes, couldn't you then just take anybody's stuff and then spin it and be like, oh yeah, look, because you said this, it connects to that. And be like, wait, what? This has nothing to do. You know, that's where my concern is that it can be weaponized. Their words in the music, which is entertainment, which they are embellishing on and they're gassing up and whatever other words you want to use to, you know, they're just writing a story to make it seem bigger. They're telling a story for them to then be at risk for the cops or law to take that and try and stick it to them. Like, think of Tupac, Brenda has a baby, right? It's a beautifully worded story. Like he paints a picture of Brenda and this whole story with the baby. It's really a sad thing, and it's meant to reflect the realities of some people. But is there actually a Brenda out there that did exactly everything that he rapped in that entire song? No, I probably not. Like this, you probably have a better chance of winning the Powerball. So what I'm saying is, if Brenda got a baby, if someone were to take the lyrics and be like, oh, well, you know, and try and use it against them in some kind of a suit or something like that, it's like, yo, he just made up a story. He's telling a story. This is not, you know, real. That's what I'm trying to say with all of this. You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm like, it just doesn't seem right. Yeah, it's art, but if he said, I murdered John Doe, isn't that an admission of guilt? That'd be an interesting case. Well, they never use names. And that's the other part about it, is he didn't say, I killed Joe Thompson on 222 Cleveland Ave. You know what I mean? Like, so if he says, like most artists will drop a body, catch a case, drop my, get the Draco. Like, they say all of this stuff, but it's like, it's just, you're just saying shit to say it. You can easily argue. Any good lawyer is going to argue like, yo, this is entertainment. These are just lyrics to tell, you know, making up a song, you know. But it certainly doesn't connect you to anything directly. It's all, what's the word? Guys, help me out here. When it looks like it's something, but it's not, it's, oh man, I'm stumbling on my words right now. What about Tupac's Hit 'Em Up? Yeah, that's another good one, right? You got Pac Hit 'Em Up. Pac said some shit to hit him up. You know, well, fuck you and your bitch. Da, 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 like, you know, again, the problem is that this potentially opens up a can of worms. That's all I'm saying. And I'm not saying that I'm right. These are just my thoughts, and I'm really interested to see how this all plays out. Billie Jean. Yeah, Billie Jean's not my lover. She's just that girl. Like, again, any artist that named people in their songs or told a story about someone else. Think about Lottie Dottie. We likes to party. We don't cause trouble. We don't bother nobody. You know, like you can go on and on. It seems like a chicken or the egg kind of a thing. Let's continue here. It reminds me when the 2 Live crew went to court over lyrics. Well, yeah, like you got to remember, Uncle Luke is paramount for hip hop. Hip hop would not be what it is today if Luther Campbell did not go to the Supreme Court and win that landmark suit that allowed basically free speech in music. Hey, if you guys don't know that history, definitely worth going to go look it up. What Uncle Luke did. Mr. Hey, we want some poo. You know what I'm saying? Like that guy. 2 Live crew.
And these are the overt acts that you will see that involve Jeffrey. As you can see, Jeffrey has never been convicted of a crime. He stands before you. He's not a convicted felon. He can vote. He can carry a gun. He can be on a jury. But now, these acts are embedded in the indictment. So let's start with the first one. So this is September 9th of 2013. Jeffrey just turned the age of 22.
What's up, guy? We're good.
And he's driving in a car, and he gets stopped, of course, for failure to maintain a lane. And the police officer comes up to the car, and Jeffrey doesn't have a license. Doesn't have a valid driver's license. So now he's under arrest. Police officer says he sees pills, Xanax pills, 7 of them, on the console. Police officer searches the car, and underneath the front passenger seat, there's no passenger, is a gun. That weapon comes back stolen from Andrew and Ann Phillips months before. There is no evidence that Jeffrey's involved in that burglary of the Phillips home. There's no evidence Jeffrey ever touched that gun. You're not going to hear any type of DNA, fingerprints. In fact, Jeffrey says, that's not my gun. Police officer wants to know, whose gun is it? Jeffrey's not talking to police. So Jeffrey gets arrested. That case got dismissed. But 10 years ago now, it's an overt act for you to consider. You will learn that this stop was video recorded and audio recorded. But the City of Atlanta Police Department, the District Attorney's Office of Fulton County, I demanded that. They can't find it. So you're going to rely on a report of an officer who doesn't remember this incident. That's it. That's an act in furtherance of a conspiracy. That's the entirety of it, that first overt act. The next one. This is overt act 5 through 7. You may notice that Jeffrey's not even alleged to be in this overt act, but now you're going to hear Jeffrey's supposed involvement. This is 2 days later. It's September 11th, an infamous day in America. It's 2013.
Kathy, what's up?
Jeffrey was arrested, if you remember, from the last overt act, September 9th, 2013. He made bond. He just got out. Walter Murphy, He grew up with Jeffrey. He's one of the people that would exchange dirty clothing with Jeffrey. You will learn that they would have no money between them. One of them would come across $1. They would split the food that they could buy with that $1 together.
That's crazy.
Walter Murphy is with a person named Adrian Bean and Fred Plethora. And there is an armed robbery of Mr. Dotson. Gunfire went out. Police are always in this area. So when the gunfire was heard, police respond immediately. Adrian Bean is driving the car. This is a car that he borrowed from a friend. This has nothing to do with Jeffrey. So he commits a crime in someone else's car. Adrian Bean almost kills a police officer, almost runs him over, driving so recklessly, high rate of speed, goes across a neighbor's lawn, over an embankment. The car is now airborne. It goes over, you'll see pictures, goes over a parked police car in a parking lot and slams into the side of a laundromat. The car crashes. Mr. Plethora is shot. Police are firing at the car. Mr. Murphy is shot. Mr. Bean runs away. He's captured. Mr. Bean, you will learn, is told, hey, we believe there was a fourth person in that car. If you make that young thug, we'll go lenient on him.
Oh, the snitches.
Adrian Bean is in the Fulton County Jail talking with his wife. He said, I should have ran the way Thug ran. He got away. That's recorded anytime an inmate, a person is incarcerated, in a jail. Most of the time, if they're speaking with a pastor, a lawyer, their calls are being recorded. You will learn that Mr. Bean also stated on a recorded call, they gave us a story to tell.
That's crazy.
Mr. Bean is interviewed.
That's crazy.
4 days later, September 17, 2013, by Detective Quinn, City of Atlanta Police Department. Detective Quinn it's a big case because police officers are discharging their weapon. People are getting shot. Detective Quinn interviews Adrian Bean. And Adrian Bean tells him, they talk about this recording. Adrian Bean tells him, I lied to my wife. Everything on those recordings are not true. Jeffrey was never arrested for this. He was never charged for this. He was never prosecuted for this. He's not even in our indictment on Overt Act 5, 6, or 7. But now, we're going to hear from Mr. Bean.
He's basically,
That's it for the next one.
he basically just said that dude's a snitch and just made up some story and all of that stuff. This guy is good, man. He's really telling this so fluidly. I mean, you notice I'm not even really talking that much because I mean he's doing a great job just telling a story right now with his opening statement here.
Further this conspiracy. Jeffrey was not even charged. Next overt act is January 7th of 2015. Now, this is a larger part of our case probably. God forbid Donovan Thomas He's going to be killed 3 days later. It's going to be January 10th of 2015. And in order to understand this rental car, and there's nothing clearly wrong with renting a car, but in order to understand this rental car and then 3 days later the killing of Donovan Thomas, you have to understand some background. So we're shortly before New Year's of 2015. And there's a man named Kenneth Copeland. He goes by Rudy.
People don't connect with facts and remember stories. It's
Kenneth Copeland
yeah. I mean, that's the whole part with a jury. You can sway them through emotions, right? True.
is not
Yo, Bonnie, what's
Jeffrey
up?
Williams. He uses Jeffrey Williams, just like a lot of people. Because Kenneth Copeland wants to be famous and have money. So he leeches on to Jeffrey Williams about a year before that. Well, Kenneth Copeland is a criminal. He is a notorious criminal. In fact, you will learn that he was ranked one of the 10 most violent people in Georgia by the federal prosecutor here in Atlanta. That is Kenneth Copeland. Kenneth Copeland breaks into cars. He steals the property they're in. Donovan Thomas is the head of a gang called IF, Inglewood Family. Donovan Thomas and Jeffrey are friends. Jeffrey's friends with everybody. It promotes him. And Jeffrey tries to help other people at the same time. Kenneth Copeland breaks into Donovan Thomas's car. And he takes his expensive chain, Donovan Thomas's wallet, his driver's license, and Donovan Thomas's cellular telephone. Donovan Thomas calls his cellular telephone. Kenneth Copeland answers the call on Donovan Thomas's phone. Kenneth Copeland changes his voice, tries to disguise his voice, but Donovan Thomas knows it's Kenneth Copeland. Donovan Thomas has people on the street. And he tells Kenneth Copeland, "You have my stuff. I'm coming to get it back." And Kenneth Copeland says, "Yeah, I'm glad you called me. Because one of my partners had your stuff. I realized it was yours, so I got it for you for safekeeping. No problem." When Donovan Thomas meets with Kenneth Copeland, he doesn't come alone. He comes with 2 other people, and they display guns. Kenneth Copeland's not alone. He's with his brother. They're really not related, but they call themselves brothers. His name is Demekian Garlington. Demekian Garlington and Kenneth Copeland are like this.
Later, Scott. We're watching the Young Thug trial. Angel.
Inseparable. Demekian Garlington and Kenneth Copeland are together. When Donovan Thomas comes, he makes it known that Kenneth Copeland is on the menu. Meaning Kenneth Copeland is going to be hurt. He just stole Donovan Thomas's property. It is now January 6th. It's really January 5th. It's a Monday night going into Tuesday morning, January 6th of 2010. It's going to be the day before this first rental car. And Kenneth Copeland is with a lot of people. Jeffrey's there. Jeffrey was performing on stage at Club Crucial. Monday night was Club Crucial night. That's where they all went. And Kenneth Copeland goes in the back, in the kitchen area, And he's met there by a man named Kelvin Watts. He goes by Shell Kel, and who's a half-brother of Donovan Thomas, and other people who are affiliated with Donovan Thomas. And Kenneth Copeland gets beat. He has bumps on his head, his eye is injured, he's being kicked. No one does that to Kenneth Copeland. Kenneth Copeland's the person who puts the bumps on the head, injures the person, kicks him. Kenneth Copeland's mad. And you will learn that Kenneth Copeland then went on a mission. He went to every place that he knew that Donovan Thomas or one of his brothers or friends were, or family members, and he would shoot at them with his weapon. On the 7th day of January 2015, Kenneth Copeland told Jeffrey, I'm going to be with my child, just born. The mother of my child, her name is Miss Quarterman. And I don't want to be driving around in the typical car I drive around in, Dodge Charger. Can I use one of your rental cars? Jeffrey does this for everybody. People need to take someone to a doctor. People want to go out of the state. They don't have transportation. He rents cars all the time. Jeffrey says, yeah, there's a rental car here. It's a Corvette. Kenneth Copeland says, that's a two-seater. My child has a baby seat. That's too small. Jeffrey rents a car at the Atlanta airport on the evening of January 7, 2015, along with Kenneth Copeland. After they drop off the Corvette, the same location. This rental car is in Jeffrey's name. When they leave the rental car location, Kenneth Copeland wants to pick up his brother, Demeke and Garlington. And after Jeffrey is dropped off, Jeffrey does not see that Infiniti vehicle until after the killing of Donovan Thomas.
So
that Infiniti vehicle, that rental car, is in the possession, the control of Kenneth Copeland that whole time.
pretty straightforward there. You're trying to separate Thug from that incident, which I think he even said it that whatever third line down on that indictment thing for young Thug is probably the biggest one they're trying to contest. And I think the one that the prosecutor's trying to tie to Thug directly, which is this killing that's to do with the rental vehicle and Thug rented it and all this stuff. And the prosecution's trying to paint a picture that Thug was in on this. He knew about it, was complicit, etc., etc. And his attorney Steele here is basically painting a picture like, hey man, he just did it to be a good friend. And once he rented it, like his hands was clean. Like he didn't see the vehicle till after this whole thing went down. So that's going to be their argument, which is very reasonable. I think it's going to be a matter of who sells it better to the jury. If the prosecution can really paint a picture that Thug knew this was about to happen, he was complicit directly, or is it going to be Steele who is able to put enough reasonable doubt in someone's mind to think that, hey, do you really think, you know, if you rent a vehicle, like that's what I would do. I'd be like, yo, if you rent a vehicle for your family member and, you know, you give it to them, you're trying to look out for them, help out, be friendly, whatever, be a good family member, and they commit a crime, like, or they do something like that, do you reasonably believe that, you know, you should be held culpable? Like, you did this, you just want to give them the vehicle. What they did with it after the fact is not on you. You know what I mean? What's up, big man?
The 8th of January, Kenneth Copeland is shooting at Donovan Thomas and his friends, associates. He's He's using this Infinity vehicle. He's using another vehicle. He is on a spree. It's now January 10th of 2015. There's a New England Patriot, Baltimore Raven playoff football game. It's Saturday evening. Donovan Thomas is watching the game from inside a barbershop with a lot of other people, his friends. At approximately 7:22 that evening, on Saturday, January 10th, 2015, Donovan Thomas is outside of that barbershop. His Chevrolet Tahoe is parked in that parking lot. Car drives by. You'll see a video, a surveillance video from the stores. You'll see sparks, it's gunfire. Donovan Thomas is struck fatally. The EMTs try to save him. He's taken to Grady Hospital, surgery after surgery, and he leaves us.
Appreciate that, big man. Thank you, bro.
2 other people were shot as well, but their injuries were not fatal. Later that day, that evening, Jeffrey, you will learn, is in negotiations with his record label. They want to give Jeffrey over $800,000 up front. And the contract's worth millions to produce these records. That's what Jeffrey was working on. He was working on a music video. No one's going to say that Jeffrey is at that scene of the shooting. But later, Kenneth Copeland, when he's arrested, he tells the police lie after lie after lie after lie. Kenneth Copeland says Jeffrey Williams was involved in that shooting. Although Kenneth Copeland said, I don't know anything about him, just tell me what I heard. Kenneth Copeland's one of those liars in the neighborhood that everyone knows.
He's really he's saying that word over and over so that when the jurors hear and see this guy come up to testify, it's gonna subconsciously make them think of him being a liar. This is really smooth, man. Like, he's really killing it with his opening statements here and telling this story. It's incredible.
Swears to tell God's honest truth. You will learn that after the shooting of Donovan Thomas, his associates did not take that well. Immediately, word on the street is that Kenneth Copeland, Woody, is responsible. Kenneth Copeland, it's now after 10 p.m., it's hours after shooting. He's then at Jeffrey's home, along with a lot of people. They're all scared they're going to be killed. They're all telling, I had nothing to do with it. Jeffrey, you will learn, he's friends with Donovan Thomas. Jeffrey puts Donovan Thomas in his music videos. Donovan Thomas invited Jeffrey just recently to come into his neighborhood to shoot a music video with him in it. Jeffrey's not happy. He is sad. Kenneth Copeland says, the police are calling Kenneth Copeland. The police are right on him. And you will learn, and it's on recording, that Kenneth Copeland goes into the police station later that morning, so it's a very early morning hours, January 11th of 2015, and he's with Detective Thorpe. Detective Thorpe is recording this. And Kenneth Copeland says, yeah, I got your call. I was at Jeffrey Williams' house, Thug's house. Everyone knows Jeff. And I told him that the police won't talk to him. And Jeffrey said, if you had nothing to do with this, you should go talk to the police.
Fuck, tell me what up.
That's what Jeffrey said. Detective Thorpe asked Kenneth Copeland, this is hours after the killing. Do you have anything to do with a rental car, an Infinity rental car? Were you in an accident in an Infinity rental car? And Kenneth Copeland says, no. He's just a liar. Kenneth Copeland tells Detective Thorpe, earlier today, during the time of the killing, I was at the Green Store. The Green Store is like a grocery store. It's green in color. It's called the Green Store. It's not far from where Donovan Thomas was got killed. You will learn that there's video surveillance inside and outside of the Green Store. Supposedly, Detective Thorpe, who is a qualified law enforcement officer, he's been doing this forever. I'm being told that, no, we never got the video of the Green Store to support the supposed alibi of Kenneth Copeland. No one corroborates Kenneth Copeland and where he was. You will learn that Kenneth Copeland eventually says, it's now June of 2015, gets rearrested. He doesn't want to be in jail. He speaks with the police. He's now with Detective Dennis, Detective Gaither, also City of Atlanta police officers. They're detectives with the gang unit homicide. Kenneth Copeland says, oh yeah, the night of the killing, Donovan Thomas, I wasn't involved.
How convenient.
I saw Jeffrey Williams. He's at the McDonald's on Cleveland Avenue. I saw him with all these other people. And then I followed him to his home. It's about 8 o'clock at night. There are videos at the McDonald's. They don't have any video. They never bother to get any video. We even try. But we have phone records. And phone records can show that they're not GPS. This is not like you're within 5 feet of this area if you call E911 or something. But it gives you range, maybe 1.5 miles, maybe more. And tells you which tower you're hitting off of. Kenneth Copeland tells the police, I followed Jeffrey Williams' car to his house about 8 o'clock. That's not true. When you track Kenneth Copeland's phone records, he doesn't go near Jeffrey. He doesn't see Jeffrey that night. He doesn't follow Jeffrey home. He doesn't go to Jeffrey's home till after 10. This is all a lie. Kenneth Copeland was told by the police, we want Thug. That's how he gets a deal. Because Kenneth Copeland was also told, you're an armed career criminal. You're going to spend 25 years in federal custody for having a gun. You're going to be dying in the state of Georgia custody because we're going to charge you with gang crime after gang crime after gang crime. But you can help yourself out. On Kenneth Copeland's word, Jeffrey Williams stands here concerning that overt act. So Jeffrey Williams rents a car in his own name to use
in a
in
crime.
a homicide of his friend.
Right. Yeah, that's gonna be the hard part for the prosecution to make that shit believable. No one in their right mind is going to willingly rent a vehicle in their name, knowing that it's going to go be used to commit a crime. It's just not reasonable. So what he just said right there is really all he has to do is just keep poking at and allow the jurors to have that reasonable doubt that this doesn't make sense. Why, and that's gonna be a hard selling point for the prosecution. I'm interested to see how they're gonna sell that, because all he has to come back is like, do we really believe, jurors here? Would any of you ever do this? No one in their right mind would willingly go rent a vehicle in your name to go literally be used to commit a crime. It's no one. You got to be a complete idiot to do that. So he's making very good points here. He's laying the seeds right now for him to circle back on that and bring it back up when they are doing their direct and cross examinations and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Kenneth Copeland
Oops. Oh shit.
stands here concerning that overt act. So Jeffrey Williams rents a car in his own name to use in a homicide of his friend. Kenneth Copeland, Antonio Sledge, they're all at Jeffrey's home, and they're all scared. They're saying, Donovan Thomas and friends are going to kill us. They think we're involved. Jeffrey gives money to Antonio Sledge so he and his family can get a hotel room and not suffer a potential drive-by shooting. Because Kenneth Copeland said they're all going to be killed. Kenneth Copeland made them all supposed targets by the IO gang. Kenneth Copeland, Shannon Jackson, Demonte Kendrick, others go down to Miami shortly after the shooting. Jeffrey was performing. Jeffrey wanted them to be safe, not get hurt, until people calmed down. Jeffrey then sent them back to Atlanta. Jeffrey then went on tour, because you will learn by April of 2015, Jeffrey did his first nationwide tour. He did with a performer known as Travis Scott. In the summer of 2015, Jeffrey then toured Europe, performing there, and going to fashion shows. Jeffrey Williams is not involved. On the next overt act, you will see these are the people. This is overt act number 17 and 18 and 19 and 20. And this is charging murder and then attempted murder for shooting the second person who was shot that night, and then the third person, Mr. Sanders, who was shot that night, and then participation in criminal street gang activity. You may notice that the overt act doesn't even include Jeffrey. No one charges Jeffrey with murder. But here we are. The next overt act is April 26th, 2015.
It's a Young Thug trial, y'all. It's a Young Thug trial.
Jeffrey is touring. He is performing. He's in Louisiana. Lil Wayne, his idol, Jeffrey idolizes him, came out against Jeffrey, called him gay. Jeffrey did a promotional social media release where there's people with guns on either side of him, and Jeffrey saying, come to this concert, we'll see what happens, come on to the concert. Jeffrey was told to do that video and release by his management team. Because when Lil Wayne says don't listen to his music, that impacts him. Lil Wayne is bigger than Jeffrey Williams at that time. So this creates interest in fans. You will learn that this is part of being involved in hip-hop or rap. There's all these battles going across social media. It generates interest, much like the NFL have rivalries with the Saints and the Falcons, and how much they hate each other. It is generating advertising. It's branding.
Here's the problem with that. I get what he's trying to say here. The problem is that in the NFL, if we're going to use the same example he just kind of alluded to, you can have I'm in Chicago Bears and Green Bay Packers are heated, longest rivalry, arguably. No, it is the longest rivalry in NFL. At the end of the day, when they go to play and they meet, no one's dying. In hip hop, these internet beefs lead to people dying. That's the distinct difference, that him using this analogy, if the prosecution is any good, can probably use what he said here to stick that point to the jury. Be like, look, they're saying this is what you do in hip hop. That this is also what's a problem with hip hop, is that it leads to artists dying. It leads to people dying because of what they're saying. So he kind of opens himself up here, I think. I don't know that I would have even touched on this to say that this is just hip hop. Yeah, you do this. You go up and you do these promotional things for hype to draw attention to your project and so on and so forth. Even though we know what it is, you know what I'm saying? A lot of times when artists start beefing, you're like, all right, who's dropping an album soon? Somebody got to be dropping an album, because now they starting to do the rounds, picking on other artists and stuff like that. So, again, the distinct difference here is that in sports, no one's dying at the end of the rivalry, versus in hip hop, if one rapper's beefing with another rapper, it's a good chance that somebody can get clapped. You know what I'm saying? That's a big difference. So he kind of opens himself up to that one. You know what I'm saying? At some point he said that Wayne called him gay. I don't remember Wayne saying that about Young Thug though. It's been a while. Maybe he did. I mean, if he's saying it happened, it must have happened, but I don't remember that part. If the gloves don't fit, you must have quit. Yeah. Hey, yo, what I'm going to do right now, though, I'm going to kill the IG and the TikTok stream. Come on over to Kick, y'all. Kick.com, djmoondawglive, to watch the rest of it with us. Kick.com/djmoondawglive. It's right below the video. You'll see the URL right there. Come on through. We're going to keep going on over there for the rest of the evening, all right?
Jeffrey is in Louisiana. Here in Atlanta, Lil Wayne has a tour bus. And he performs a concert, and his tour bus was fired upon and struck. There's zero evidence Jeffrey's involved. Zero. Jeffrey's not even named. Now you're going to hear about it. Because Jeffrey's the king slime. He just controls everybody, even without any evidence to support it. Because that's the theory of the prosecution and the police who have targeted Jeffrey Williams. The next overt act is July 7th of 2015. Jeffrey is at Perimeter Mall, that's located in DeKalb County. And he's in the mall and he's buying 50 to 100 sneakers, brand new sneakers. And he's going to do a video shoot. And he's going back to Cleveland Avenue where the children don't have proper footwear. He's going to give out these sneakers and allow the children to be in a video shoot. So that's why he's at the Perimeter Mall. He's there with friends of his. And he's on a Segway scooter. It's like an electric skateboard. And the mall security comes over and tells Jeffrey and his friends, and you'll see video of this, they have to leave the mall. You can't have a Segway inside the mall. Well, Jeffrey leaves the mall. But the security officers follow him. They followed Jeffrey and his friends to Jeffrey's Jaguar. And the security won't let Jeffrey leave. Won't let his friends leave. They're standing around the Jaguar. They can't shut the door to the Jaguar. They can't pull out. And they tell Jeffrey, you're waiting here. You're going to have to be here. They tell Jeffrey's friend, we're going to get a criminal trespass warrant for you. Allegedly, someone inside the car said, I'm going to go home, get a gun, and come back and shoot you in the face. That's the allegation. The security guards then supposedly step back, the car drives away. Nobody is shot. There's no incident. Jeffrey gets arrested on that. The DeKalb County prosecutors dismissed that case. It was not even indicted. Now you have it here before you.
Sounds like bullshit to me. That's a good point.
Next, overt act.
Sounds like a really good point.
Dealing with
Oh, you know what though? That could be okay. I see what he did right there. He's trying to say like they didn't prosecute it, they threw it out, and here it is again. It could have been that the DA told them like, hey, we're working on a bigger case. Leave him alone because we're building a bigger case. That happens all the time when a say like a local agency is investigating someone, and then the bigger federal agency's like, hey, what are y'all doing? Like, drop it. Just leave him go because we're gonna. That's part of our bigger case, and they got to back off of it. That sounds like that's why that may have happened. It also could have been just that. It sounds like anyway from what he described, there wasn't enough there to even do anything. So it could be one and or both of those situations. I found that to be interesting though.
September 24th of 2017. Jeffrey's with Sergio Kitchens. Sergio Kitchens is an unbelievably well-known musical performer. His performing name is Gunna.
Uh-oh.
He and Jeffrey
Here we go.
both are under YSL. That's Jeffrey's record label. They signed Sergio Kitchens for Gunna. There's a third person in that car. His name is Cedric Jones. The car is going to Peachtree DeKalb Airport. It gets pulled over for a window tint violation. The officer gets Jeffrey out of the car in handcuffs, Sergio Kitchens out of the car in handcuffs, Cedric Jones out of the car in handcuffs. Police search the car. They find in the car supposed methamphetamine, supposed hydrocodone, marijuana, and a stolen firearm. Jeffrey was on his way to perform at the Jimmy Fallon show that night. Cedric Jones said, I packed that stuff. Somehow that is now influencing and perpetuating and moving this supposed YSL conspiracy. That's the overt act. The next one. May 18, 2018. Jeffrey is driving a Porsche. Sergio Kitchens is in the front passenger seat. Supposedly Jeffrey is speeding. Supposedly there's another car that's in tandem speeding. Both cars get pulled over by police. There's videos of it. Jeffrey and Mr. Kitchens are asked to get out of the car. They're actually there are guns in the car. They say yes. There are guns in the car. Police get them out of the car. Any drugs in the car? No. Police have Jeffrey and Mr. Kitchens on the side of the road. Go through Jeffrey's car. They run the guns. The guns are lawful. The police put the guns in the trunk of the car. Tell Jeffrey and Mr. Kitchens, you're free to go. Give Jeffrey a speeding ticket. Jeffrey's driving away. He stops the police. Inquires about what's going to happen with the other gentleman. in the other car, police say, no, 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 you're going to jail. They have in the car weapons, 30-round magazines. It's not in Jeffrey's car. There's going to be zero evidence that Jeffrey put those guns in the car, knew those guns were in the car, had anything to do with them. That's your overt act. The next crime is an overt act. This is the date of Jeffrey's arrest. So it's broken up into several overt acts. So I grouped them. This is overt act 183, 184, 185, 186, 187, and 188. And what you'll see here is they're just different items. So Jeffrey's home is surrounded on March 9th of 2020 by law enforcement. Law enforcement has tremendous military power. Law enforcement takes control of the scene, the area. Jeffrey and more than a dozen people are in the house. You will learn that Jeffrey doesn't live at the house often. But other people live there all the time. They take care of the house. You don't leave a house unattended. The house has a lot of Jeffrey's awards that you'll see. And in the house, law enforcement finds a small amount of cocaine. I'm talking about a small amount of cocaine. They find codeine, lots of codeine. Codeine's cough syrup. People drink it if you get high. Get very addicted. Marijuana in the house. And firearms. Other people had access to this home. Other people lived at this home. You will have no evidence that Jeffrey ever touched a firearm. Those are the overt acts involving Jeffrey. And somehow that furthered this conspiracy to create territory and property and money and respect and reputation. The next series of overt acts deal with videos that are released on the internet, photographs on the internet, chats. These are not released on the internet. The chats are personal. So this is when you really know what Jeffrey's talking with people, and then conversation. So the first one is November 3rd of 2014. That is Jeffrey in the red sweatshirt. That is Mr. Copeland. That's Kenneth Copeland, Woody, in the white sweatshirt. And they're wearing different colors. And the RG is Rich Gang. That is a musical gang, a musical artist. Rich Homie Quan, a man named Brian Williams, Birdman, Jeffrey Williams. They had lifestyle that went across the world. Success.
Huge record.
And Jeffrey is holding up his fingers. Suppose that's a YSL. That's what he's doing. He's wearing red clothing. That's the overt act. Jeffrey didn't release that. That's not his Instagram releasing it. But that's the overt act. The next one is January 3rd of 2015. That is Mr. Demekin Garlington in the red with the glasses on. That is Jeffrey, closest to us. There's money on that table. There's a double cup.
Codeine.
Styrofoam cup. And it says that Jeffrey posed for a photograph. Jeffrey's not even looking at the camera. Jeffrey didn't release that on social media. He didn't post it. That is Mr. Garlington. And that's Mr. Garlington's "We ain't going back and forth." Mr. Garlington and Mr. Copeland are brothers. They consider themselves one. What happens January 3rd, 2000?
Woke up, missed anything significant? Depends on how long you've been gone.
Shortly before New Year's.
I mean, so far, he's just going down all of the counts that pertain to Thug. And he's starting to paint the picture to the jurors as far as why this is basically bullshit. And it has nothing to do with Thug, that they're just trying to group him in with this other stuff. So what's happening right now, if you don't know, is you have the prosecution, the state of Georgia, going against Thug, and I don't know if there's like 5 or 6 other defendants or more under the RICO Act. So they're all being charged with all of these counts as a organized crime, as a conspiracy, racketeering, and all of that. And what's happening though is each defendant has their own lawyer. So they're working under this guise where in some aspects everything will apply to them as a whole, and then in other ways each individual lawyer is battling the government at the same time, if you guys can imagine that. So the prosecution, it's a lot of work for the prosecution because they're trying to charge them as a whole, but they also have to battle like 1v1s against each individual defendant and their lawyer, because some of these counts, which what Thug's attorney Steele is talking about here, which he's trying to say these shouldn't apply to Young Thug. This has nothing to do with him. This is how it doesn't have nothing to do with him. So he's just painting that picture early on to the jurors so that they have that in their mind. And then once they get into the witness portion and providing the evidence, and they do the direct and the cross exams, then they're going to start picking at it all. And then that's where the jurors should then really start to weed out what's what, and at least in their minds, right? What they actually believe, what is reasonable from what's unreasonable, and then whether or not the state ends up making a strong enough case beyond a reasonable doubt that yes, in fact, Young Thug was doing this. This is actually, he was in on it. I just from the first opening so far, and from what he's saying, and then in combination for how the prosecution did yesterday with their botched opening statements, I think he has a good odds of getting out of this, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying?
You will remember
Kathy, next time you come over, Velvet Muffin, I like that.
that Kenneth Copeland stole Jonathan Thomas's chain, expensive chain, his driver's license, his wallet, and his cell phone. That's Mr. Garlington saying, we ain't going back and forth. That's the overt act. Dealing with Jeffrey Williams.
It was a mess. Huge.
Jeffrey didn't even post it. Next one is January 26, 2015. Again, this is Mr. Garlington. Now, what I'm showing you, by the way, are the overt acts from the indictment. You'll have the indictment. These are the language of the indictment. And this goes to a video you will see. And it's Jeffrey. By this time, his rotten teeth are covered with gold. He's trying to fix himself, make himself a better image. It is 16 days after Jonathan Thomas is killed. And it says, Jeffrey saying, so an A lies to their kids, lies to their mamas, lied to their brothers and sisters, then get right in the courtroom and tell the God's honest truth. Don't get it. Y'all ends need to be effing killed, bro, from me and YSL. That's exactly what Jeffrey's been thinking all the time. The criminal justice system is out of control. But what do you learn here? First of all, Mr. Garlington released that on his Instagram, not Jeffrey. Second of all, when was the video made by Jeffrey? Was it made, as the state told you, 16 days after Donovan Thomas's killing, and therefore somehow it's relevant to this murder. You will learn that that video was in existence before Donovan Thomas was ever killed. That is a repost. That is a repost by Mr. Garlington. The prosecutors, the police, are misrepresenting the evidence.
Basically saying they're lying.
What has happened on January 26, 2015, though, is Donovan Thomas's close associate. He's also a very well-known
What's up, Young Jay?
musical performer. His name's Mr. Bennett. He goes by Y.F.N. Lucci. His mother's house is shot at. His mother, Mr. Bennett's mother, Y.F.N. Lucci's mother, is shot, as well as her boyfriend. That's what happens on January 26, 2015. This is released by Mr. Garland. Because everybody wants to associate with Jeffrey. He's the only one who got out of that area. Everyone talks about him. You're going to see in the chats. They don't even know him. Hey, if I do this, how much will Jeffrey pay me? Hey, if I do this, will Jeffrey take me on tour? Hey, if I do this, will Jeffrey do this? Can I get Jeffrey's number? Can I come to his house? Will he buy me jewelry? They use Jeffrey. This has nothing to do with Donovan Thomas. But that's what you're being told.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that,
The
bro.
next one is February 9th, 2015. Jeffrey is in a car. You'll see the video. He's singing. He's singing. And he's making signs with his hands that the prosecuting police say are gang signs. I can make gang signs. This is America. I can speak favorably to the Bloods, to the Crips, to Donald Trump, to anybody.
Freedom of speech. He's taking that angle. Okay. I mean, he's right.
That's the overt act, and Jeffrey didn't even release it. This is on Mr. Garlington, who Mr. Garlington wrote, "You dig 30. YSL coming soon." Instead of the C for the Crips, you remove the C if you're in favor of the Bloods, and you use another letter, sometimes a B, this one you use an S. You will learn that in the YSL gang, it's now called a hybrid gang, because there's not only Bloods, there's Crips, there's anybody who wants to come, no rules. But now the experts in the Atlanta Police Department, that's the only experts, they're all the same, the Atlanta Police Department. Now it's a hybrid gang. That is the overt act. It's not written by Jeffrey, it's not released by Jeffrey, but they want you to fear music that talks about killing, drugs. It is art. If you don't like it, you don't have to listen to it. But this is America.
This is solid right here.
It is art.
It is.
You will learn that rap is the most
Embellished.
listened to
Yeah.
music in the world. It's the number one. It is a multi-billion-dollar industry. You don't fear this. We encourage it. It generates money. It puts people to work. It's not meant for brainwashing. It's whatever the consumer chooses. It's art. It's like reading a book,
Painting a picture.
looking at a painting,
Yeah.
watching a movie,
Poetry.
reading poetry.
Damn, I'm good. I'm good. Look at that.
What you believe it to be. That's what we do. As opposed to Russia. They stop all communications. They censor. The next overt act.
He lightweight is leading into the freedom of speech angle, which I'm curious to see how much further he dives into that to push back against the lyrics aspect of it all. But that was a really solid little run right there for sure.
Is March 20, 2015. Jeffrey is with Shannon Stillwell, Diamante Kendrick, Mr. Garlington, Mr. Arnold. And they are using their hands to make signs. That's the overt act that furthers, that drives this conspiracy. That's it. Jeffrey didn't even release that photograph. Who releases it?
Bro, look what it says here. It says all the defendants' names associated to YSL did post for a photo released on Garlington's Instagram account, flashing a YSL hand sign, an overt act and furtherance of a conspiracy. Yeah, this is definitely a reach. I don't know. I like that. You're doing all that for that? Like that's kind of weak sauce to me.
Mr. Garland. Next. It's almost New Year's 2017. Antonio Sumlin also comes from the impossible life that Jeffrey was born into. He's with Jeffrey. There's a social media captioned Original Slime SHI. And Jeffrey's saying, Murder Gang BIT. And holding up his fingers, his YSL. Until we're dead and hell. That's the overt act. That's driving this conspiracy. The next is August 8th of 2019. That is Mr. Bennett. He's a very, very, very prominent musical performer, rap, gangster rap. It's August 8th, 2019. And this is Jeffrey's post. Jeffrey did post this. And he wrote, YFN, meaning Mr. Bennett, if I ain't like what you do for your mother and kids, and capitalized, I would have been kill you. That's supposed to be this rival, this leader of the YSL, the King Slime, against IF Gang. And here we go. What they don't tell you, but what you will learn, is the day before, Jeffrey released an album called So Much Fun. And YFN Lucy criticized that album in social media. That it's awful. And what you also will learn is that in 2016, years before, YFN Lucy, he's not as high as Jeffrey. He does not have as much fan base or interest. He doesn't make the money that Jeffrey does. So YFN Lucy does what all these rappers do. They attach to somebody bigger to promote themselves. Jeffrey did that too. He did it with Lil Wayne. He did it with others. In 2016, Mr. Bennett, or YFN Lucy, he released on social media that he has been having sex with Jeffrey's fiance. So King Slime, all these years, this man saying that he sleeps with Jeffrey's fiance goes unharmed. Nothing done. This is the post that Jeffrey says, and it's a real threat. If I didn't like what you do for your mother and your kids, I would have been killed you. It doesn't sound too much of a threat. That's the overt act. The next one is March 12th of 2020. Mr. Huey. And Mr. Williams, now this is not social media. These are actually conversations that the prosecution subpoenaed from Google, or from Instagram, or from Twitter, or from Facebook. You get all of Jeffrey's statements. This is very invasive. And what happened right before this, and if you look at the date, this is right before COVID hit in 2020 in America. Sergio Kitchens has a dear friend, co-worker. He is a producer, an engineer, musical engineer. So Sergio Kitchen performs, this other person turns the music, the beats, makes it right, changes lyrics, does whatever they do. This producer or engineer's name is Chandler Durham. He goes by Turbo. And Turbo's car is stolen. And in that car are beats, lyrics that cannot be reproduced. They're the only copy. They're in a hard drive in his car. The car's stolen. And it is alleged that Mr. Huey's friends or acquaintances or people that Mr. Huey knew took that car. Not that Mr. Huey did it, but that he knew who did do it, who has that property. And Jeffrey writes to him, if you don't take it back, he's going to die. Give back the property. You will learn that no one died. You will learn that the property was never given back. That is the real leader of this feared criminal street gang. He's ignored. That's it. That's March 12, 2020.
You want to play the games or live? I don't know. We'll see when this is done.
The next one is February 4, 2021. Now this again is the personal chat. Trantavia Stevens, he grew up with Jeffrey. They exchanged clothing, dirty clothing. They went hungry together. And Warnie Lee is also a up-and-coming musical artist that Jeffrey wanted to sign, but Warnie Lee went to another record label. Jeffrey supports him to encourage his career. And this is February 4th of 2021. And what the indictment did by the prosecution through the grand jury is they put this together, and this is bad. I understand when you read it.
Objection, your argument.
I stand objection.
This reads, YSL rule the world, kid. 24M on an N head. Y'all just start bringing me the money. Man, y'all and stop playing with me. So when you read that, it sounds like there's a contract on someone's head. Kill him, start bringing me the money. Stop playing with me. That's threatening. What you will learn is what the prosecutor did was they took these checks from various days. This is over a 3-day period. This is February 4th, 2021, all the way up to February 7th of 2021. And they cut out all of the context. And what you will learn is that on February 4th of 2021, Jeffrey wrote, YSL rule the world, kid, 24M on an N's head.
He's on trial for a RICO charge.
That happened on February 4th,
Him and a bunch of other people.
That was released on social media and went around the world is one of Jeffrey's artists that he signed.
I'm so sore from yesterday, Jim.
Who developed, he encouraged, and who made it. This person had a supposed, maybe it's real, supposed $24 million pink diamond and had it surgically implanted into his forehead.
Oh, they're talking about Uzi? Talking about Uzi.
There is a photograph next to YSL Rule the World Kid, 24M on an N's head. There's a photograph. If you click on it, it is the rapper with the surgically implanted pink diamond in his forehead. The police bury this. The prosecution buries this. I will show it to you. Now, the evidence will show, they may say, oh, it's on. We made a mistake. There's no mistakes here. This is a big deal. This is a bill of indictment in Fulton County, Georgia in
Objection, Your
2023.
Honor. Argument.
I sustain the objection.
That is misrepresenting. You will learn. You will see it. It has nothing to do with put a contract on someone's life. That's the evidence that's coming at you. You'll start, bring me the money.
By the way, here he's essentially pointing out that the prosecution is he's being nice about it, but essentially saying like this is a setup. How they removed all the context for the text messages, only showing you certain stuff. They're basically crafting this whole thing up, and it looks like it's just disingenuous here.
Oh, and stop playing with me. When you read, this is a long chat. These people are struggling. Trantavia Stevens is struggling. He's sharing a home with other people. They're trying to pay rent. They're working jobs. These are hard jobs to work. They're trying to save money, trying to eat, trying to take care of their kids. And Trantavia Stevens is in the chat saying, I paid the rent last month. Jeffrey doesn't live with these people. He's just included in the chat. He's hardly on these chats. And Trantavia Stevens is complaining. And he's saying, give me the money for the rent. We got to pay the rent. I paid it last month. Everyone's supposed to put the money on the stove, in the kitchen. No, I'm doing what you said you do. We live together. And Jeffrey said, y'all start just bringing me the money. I'll pay the rent. Y'all stop playing. That's the overdose. That's furthering this conspiracy. That's what they did to that man. The next overt act is May 13th of 2021. This is the chat. It's again, these are the personal conversations not supposed to be seen. These are not released on social media. It's like a wiretap. This is supposed to be between these people. And it's Mr. Martinez Arnold, who, by the way, is a Crip. He's in YSL. Crips are blue, but that's why it's a hybrid gang. Everything moves to make it fit Jeffrey. Now it's a YSL gang that's hybrid. Martinez Arnold, Miles Farley, Quantavious Greer, that's Jeffrey's brother. Wani Lee, you just learned about him. He's an up-and-coming rapper. He's signed to another label. Jeffrey's promoting his career. He's not even signed to Jeffrey's label. Jeffrey's promoting him. Trantavia Stevens, you learned about him, wrote with Jeffrey. Antonio Sumlin and Jeffrey. And it's May 13, 2021. And Jeffrey wrote, y'all ain't beat him up or shot him yet. Y'all ends getting soft. Well, that sounds bad.
Yeah.
But what you will learn is the conversation was about Trantavia Stevens complaining to another person who's in that chat. That other person tried to sleep with Trantavia Stevens' girlfriend. And the other person told Trantavia Stevens' girlfriend, Trantavia Stevens is cheating on you with another girl. And Trantavia Stevens and this other man are leveling each other over this chat. And they're going back and forth, and this goes on a long time. And Jeffrey, they're acting like kids. And Jeffrey wrote, y'all ain't beat him up or shot him yet. Y'all getting soft. He's talking to people that he tries to help and that he's known all his life. That is the overt act. He's totally taken to mislead you. I will present the evidence. And there's no apology accepted when they say, oh yeah, we were out of context, we made a mistake. There's no mistake here. They built a theory. They have an agenda. This is wrong.
Objection, argument.
Sustained objection.
Next one.
She losing all of.
September 1,
She losing all of the
2021.
objections, y'all.
Mr. Mender is in the Fulton County Jail. When you're in the Fulton County Jail, not only are your jail calls, like a telephone call, recorded, but you can do things with loved ones where you can actually see them, like a FaceTime. Or I guess a Zoom. But they're recorded. So it's about a 16-minute call, and then it breaks off. It just, you can't talk longer than that on the jail call. You got to call back and pay more money. And Mr. Mender is speaking with Mr. Huey. And the conversation starts with Mr. Huey driving in a car. You'll see this. And Mr. Mender is on his iPad or MacBook, whatever device he has. And Mr. Huey meets Jeffrey Williams at a jewelry store. Jeffrey has an image. He's very, very visible. He wants to be visible. It promotes his brand. He wears gigantic jewelry all the time.
She's pitifully unsuited for this trial. The state's gonna lose.
Of the bloods of 5 stars.
We're gonna find out.
His kids' names.
There's only 2 of them against like 8 different
6
lawyers.
children.
It's almost unfair.
His brothers and sisters' names. Of the struggles he's been through. Jonesboro South. And Mr. Huey goes into the jewelry store. And Jeffrey walks up. So now you see Jeffrey in the viewfinder, in the video. And he sees Mr. Mender. And Mr. Mender knows that Mr. Huey's in a jewelry store, because Mr. Huey before that showed him. And Mr. Mender says to Jeffrey, hey, I need something. And Jeffrey points to Mr. Huey. He says, speak with him, and walks away. Jeffrey's on that video audio for 31 seconds. That promotes the RICO conspiracy, that Jeffrey dares to speak with a person who's in custody and treat them well. He didn't buy anything for him. Jeffrey walked away. That's the next overhead. The next one is September 4th of 2021, so a couple days later. And Jeffrey is with Mr. Huey. And Mr. Huey puts on his Instagram, it's not Jeffrey's post. Mr. Huey was in custody shortly before this. And he wrote, from lockdown to a jet, slap is. Says Jeffrey poses for the photograph. Jeffrey's not even looking at the photographer. Jeffrey doesn't post this. That somehow promotes this conspiracy. This violent, territorial, money-gathering, reputation-building, fear-producing conspiracy. That's the overt act.
Yo, now that we're seeing these pictures, like this is kind of weak sauce, man. Like what? This is not like like he didn't post this himself. This is other people around him.
The next overt act.
This is actually starting to look
November 14th,
like a real
2021.
reach.
It's again Mr. Huey, Mr. Williams, and Mr. Huey writes, and now this again, this is a private conversation. This is not social media. And Mr. Huey wrote, you know I'm ready to handle the business and go sit down if I got to about any one of y'all on my mama. What the prosecution leaves out is the next line by Mr. Huey, where Mr. Huey writes, but I don't even know if this is true or not. And Jeffrey writes, have you spoken with Gunnar or Sergio Kitchens? And Mr. Huey responds, yes. And what they're talking about, if you remember, right before COVID of 2020, Jeffrey is telling Mr. Huey, get those people to return those beats. Those beats are not ever coming back. They're lost. That is proprietary information. That is valuable art. They're gone.
Mr. Steele, I hate to interrupt you, but you might be time. How much longer do you have?
An hour?
We're going to take a couple of breaks. 10 minutes, okay? All right, we're in recess.
All right. Well, there's that. And apparently he has another hour of going in for the opening, which I just can't. I can't do it. Yeah. Wow. And then it looks like another attorney for one of the another one comes up. Then another one comes up. This is what the prosecution has to deal with. Then another one comes up. You know what I'm saying? There's Thug. Anything else happening? He continues again. We're doing the Cliff Notes version of this, y'all. I mean, I really wanted to watch Steele. I think, let's see what happens here.
Exactly what Your Honor report and Swanson says cannot be done by an expert. The jury doesn't get from the expert, supposed expert. The next on the back of that page is criminal street gang elements. That comes from the law. That should not be coming from a witness. The next one is criminal street gang identifiers, which is a different issue, but I do have an objection, but not the same objection. That is not the law. That would go to factual allegations. Then it goes back to the law, Your Honor.
There are several slides in there that reference criminal street gang elements. So I assume that you're objecting to those. There are several of those interspersed throughout the presentation.
Exactly. And
okay.
I don't have a page number, but yes.
Yes, it's not numbered, but but let me let the state respond to that to begin with. So, Madam.
Thank you, Judge. Your Honor, first, Swanson is quite distinguishable. In Swanson, what happened is that the expert witness was asked by the prosecutor whether or not something is required in order to convict someone of a DUI. And the expert answered no, which is an issue that goes directly to the matters that the jury alone is there to decide. In what Detective Belknap has prepared as an aid to assist the jury.
Yeah, I don't know if this is it seems like, well, it just seems like the lawyers are objecting to some stuff that's probably going to be pulled into the trial. I'm guessing that the jury's not in there right now, so they're hashing out the next step and what they're going to bring forward, what's going to be allowed, and all that stuff. And it sounds like the prosecutor here is trying to validate why they're going to have some stuff in. Defense doesn't want stuff out. That's pretty typical. I wouldn't say that that necessarily means that she messed up again. She messed up on the opening for sure. But this could just be them, you know, this is what they do, right? They pick at little things here and there, trying to keep things in, keep things out.
In understanding or hearing his testimony, he is explaining the methodology that he employs in making the categorizations and classifications of certain groups as a criminal street gang or not. Your Honor, without knowing how it is that Detective Belknap goes about making determinations and deciding whether he, in his opinion, believes that this particular group is a criminal street gang, how on earth is the jury to gauge his credibility? The court, of course, instructs the jury that the law comes from the court alone, and the court can give to the jury prior to Detective Belknap a limiting instruction saying that what they are hearing is his opinion and the basis that forms his opinions. The law upon which Detective Belknap relies in order to make his classifications of particular groups is no different than treatises or other matters that experts rely on to make their particular opinions about matters that are outside the ken of the average juror. In this particular case, Detective Belknap does not place at the top of his slide OCGA blah, 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 and he does not say, in order to find this person guilty of participation in criminal street gang activity, you do or don't need to have this. What he has done is outlined the factors that he employs in making a determination as to whether, in his opinion, a particular group qualifies as a criminal street gang. The circumstances of our case are quite distinguishable from those in Swanson. If it ever came to a point where, and we would not, where the prosecutor asked Detective Belknap something that was in the jury's, within their purview, do we need to have this to convict of this, then I would see and understand defense counsel's objection. But here, without the jury knowing how it is that Detective Belknap made his decisions about whether or not this particular group qualifies as a gang, this particular group does not, how on earth are they to gauge whether or not he is credible? The court will tell the jury that the jury has to decide whether or not they believe Detective Belknap. What if Detective Belknap had a series of qualifications for determining whether or not a group is a gang that was completely out of line with Georgia law? Giving what he uses as a guide to make his determinations in no way invades the province of the jury. I'm certain that if he did have a series of qualifications or standards that were out of line with what the law is, no one can argue that the defense counsel wouldn't pounce on it and in fact exploit that fact for the jury. But the fact that his standards, his methodology, his qualifications, his determination of whether or not a group is a criminal street gang, because it is exactly as the law requires it to be, they want it excluded. And that in turn completely cuts the legs out from under the jury's ability to discern whether or not Detective Belknap is credible. How on earth could you expect them to gauge his basis for his knowledge at all without that information?
Okay.
So it sounds like what they're arguing right now is the defense lawyers are trying to get the detective to not take the stand and say that he's not qualified, he's not an expert to label anyone a gang. And obviously the prosecutor right there making the counter argument that he should be able to at least go up there and share his opinion on it, that the court can advise the jurors that, don't take this as factual, but take it and take it for what it's worth, kind of a thing. And that also he should be allowed to testify that they are in fact a street gang because he was trained to do so, under which the training he received was provided by the state, and the state's termination or the state's definition of what a gang, what amounts to being in a gang. So that's what that argument is right there.
So we would ask that the court find that there is no merit to the objection currently being made as it relates to the demonstrative aid that Detective Belknap seeks to employ, and that in no way does the utilization of the demonstrative on page 1 of his demonstrative aid invade the province of the jury. Again, this is Detective Belknap deciding and determining and using a particular structural tool in making assessments of whether or not a particular criminal act is in furtherance of the gang. The triangle that is shown is in no way invasive or invading the province of the jury. It simply helps.
You said use email. Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry.
No, thank you, Judge. It simply helps to explain how it is that Detective Belknap goes about making the determinations and forming the opinions that he has been qualified to share with the jury.
Sure.
And to suggest that this information is inadmissible, it just, I don't know, it just defies reason at this time, Your Honor.
She has a problem with getting to a point where she just can't end her thought with like a oomph at the end. You know, she kind of gives it. We saw it yesterday where she got flustered and she's like, it's just, well, I forgot what she said, but it's in the stream highlight from in yesterday's video on the channel. And she's kind of doing it again. She'll get to the point where she's circling on her own words, and she gets to the point where she just kind of runs out of gas. She needs to just be very concise and stop trying to run over it, because at the end she has no legs and she just be like, yeah, just cuz, like, you know what I'm saying? You guys know what I'm talking about, right? She don't know how to speak. Yeah, she just don't know how to like it's a lot of word salad. In radio we call it it's more of an art. It's really more of an art in radio, but it's called word economy. It means being able to say what you need to say with the least amount of words possible. Because radio, when you go on the air, you only got 30 seconds, 10 seconds, a minute tops to say your thought, and you need to be concise. And all this extra ahs, extra word salad, it don't work. She needs to be very streamlined in what her argument is, get straight to the point, leave it there without trying to keep going on and rephrasing it. Like, you're just, because as you see there, she just gets winded at the end of it all. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, she was making a good point up until the end. Yeah, she was very valid. I thought she's making a good argument on that. Just stop while your head kind of a thing, you know what I'm saying? She's not succinct. Yes, well said.
I would suggest that all of this information goes to the weight of Detective Belknap's testimony, and in no way should be considered a reason to exclude the tools he uses to form his opinions. And thank you for allowing me to speak.
All right. Anybody else wish to add anything before I go ahead and rule? Mr. Sharp, you got up.
Separate issues with the same PowerPoint, so.
Hey, what's your issue, sir?
Your Honor, if you go to, there's a few slides labeled no slide light. It's, I'd say halfway through.
Okay, can you give me a slide? Is it the one that starts on October the 14th? Ms. Hilton and Ms.
Page 22, if you count, Your Honor.
Okay, hold on, just wait. Ms. Love, is it possible for you to ask Detective Belknap tomorrow, before he testifies tomorrow, to label or to number his slides, so it would be easy for me to deal with these kind of queries?
Absolutely.
All right, that would be wonderful. So, can you give me what page it's near, Mr. Sharp?
Where you just were, it starts on the one before there.
Okay, all right.
So what's happening here is they're arguing through the presentation from the detectives that they're trying to get on there to testify, and the defense attorneys, of course, what they're going to do is pick it apart. They try to get the least amount of that shit as possible entered in. You know what I'm saying? I wish I could sit in this jury. I know. Maybe that's what I need to do. Maybe what I should start doing is going to the courthouses. But the problem is, which sucks, man. It really sucks, because these things should be accessible to the public to watch. In most cases, I think maybe the only one that shouldn't be are going to be, sex crimes and stuff, where you have a clear victim or minors. You want to protect their identity. But for most of these other cases and crimes, you can always go down to the courthouse to watch the trials, but you can't always broadcast them. And I really wish that a lot more of them were broadcasted. I just think, like, to me, they are just so interesting and fascinating, better than any kind of, police TV show or drama series. 'Cause this is like real life. This really happened. Like, when you hear the whole story of events, you hear the lawyers battling it out and all that stuff. You know what I mean? Giovanni, what's up? Oh, you couldn't sit on this jury. Oh.
YSL criminal activity?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
And it continues for, I think, 3 slides, including the one that you were just looking on. And it lists specific allegations that are not in this indictment, not charges over acts that are criminal in nature, prejudicial, that discusses specific acts that Detective Belknap apparently wants to talk about to discuss the history of YSL as he sees it, and these don't involve any of our clients either. And O'Connell v. State, 294, Georgia, 379, certainly I understand the law that an expert witness can rely on hearsay. However, an expert witness may not be a mere conduit to hearsay. And right now, it appears to me that the state is planning on having this expert tell the jurors about all these other completely unrelated incidents that he had, to my knowledge, had no involvement in investigating, but certainly he would be testifying to hearsay. I don't think that they're planning on calling the alleged victims of all these incidents or anything like that. And it's just a bunch of other completely unrelated criminal acts that have nothing to do with this case and these specific charges that are going to be brought in through Detective
He's doing the same thing. Just end your point, bro. Just
as
end it. End
their
it.
conduit. And we would object to that under that O'Connell case.
All right, sir. State, you want to respond to that, please?
Yes, Your Honor. These particular incidents go to both, as in the case with Trontavia Stevens, matters that the detective, the witness, observed personally, and matters that other people observed as well. And an expert is allowed to testify that the basis for his opinion consists in part on these type of observations made by various persons. These matters are for the jury to decide what weight to give them. Of course, the argument can, and I'm certain will be made, that these people haven't come in here and the jury can decide whether or not it will disregard Detective Belknap's opinions because they are based on this information and the defense has convinced them that they should disregard it altogether because they haven't heard from a particular witness. But in no way should that be a reason to exclude Detective Belknap's testimony about certain information, certain incidents, certain interactions that form the basis for his opinion. These are things that he has observed during his experience as a law enforcement officer, including incidents involving alleged gang members, including, part of what he has testified about, part of what the court deemed portions of his methodology included his interactions with gang members, alleged gang members, and the information that they shared with him. What weight to give that should be left to the jury, and the information should not be excluded because essentially what counsels for the defense seem to want to do is to take away from the jury any information about what Detective Belknap bases his opinions on. And then it just leaves a bare opinion with nothing with which to gauge the credibility of those opinions. So respectfully, the state asks that the court not take away the jury's ability to weigh what weight it should give Detective Belknap's opinions by excluding the information that forms the basis of those opinions. And that information includes both the standards that he employs to classify groups as gangs. It includes the methodology that he utilizes to determine whether or not an act is in furtherance of a gang. And it includes his history and personal experience and those of law enforcement officers with which he has collaborated involving interactions with alleged and self-professed criminal street gang members. So we would ask that the court not exclude any of that testimony and information from the jury's consideration.
Your Honor.
Thank you.
If you accept the state's logic in that
Say again?
argument, then why would they even have to call in any witnesses for any of these overt acts? Why bring in witnesses about Christian Eppinger allegedly shooting a police officer? Just have Belknap just tell them this is what happened. Why bring in witnesses to talk about armed robberies allegedly committed by Walter Murphy? Just have Detective Belknap come in as an expert and tell them the whole story about what happened and say, because of that, I'm using that information as a basis of my expertise. The O'Connell case, Your Honor, was when a defendant sought to had an expert who testified that the defendant suffered from PTSD. The defendant had killed their adoptive mother. And she wanted to bring up specific instances of her abuse in her homeland. I believe it was Guatemala. And
You're correct.
the court said, no, you cannot bring in specific instances to put in front of the jury to say, yes, these specific instances form the basis of my opinion, because you're using the expert witness as a conduit to bring in inadmissible hearsay. And that's exactly what the state is doing here. And it's even worse than that, because none of these alleged incidents have anything to do, as far as I can tell, with any of these gentlemen. And also the state just shifted just swiftly. First they said there are incidents that Detective Belknap has personal knowledge of. Then it's kind of slightly shifted to Detective Belknap, or maybe he's talked to other law enforcement officers about it. Like it's some collective knowledge thing. It's rank hearsay.
Okay.
Your Honor.
They're battling it out.
ma'am.
They're really battling it out to see if this detective takes a stand here and whether or not what he won't be able to talk about. This is interesting. Let's see how I'm willing to bet the judge is going to lean and give it to the prosecutor, but never know. Their defense is making a good argument.
As it relates to O'Connell, Your Honor, the reason that the court decided that the expert's opinion in that case was a conduit for bare hearsay is it was the defendant's efforts to get in specific incidents that related to the defendant without putting the defendant on the stand. The reason that the incidents and the interactions Detective Belknap has had and other officers has had with particular alleged or self-professed gang members is distinguishable from the acts and overt acts that the state has included as part of the indictment, is that in order for the state to prove beyond a reasonable doubt any allegation, any count in the indictment that we set out to prove, we have to present evidence of that particular act. What Detective Belknap would be talking about as it relates to the specific incidents and,
What was that?
and interactions that help form the basis for his opinions are simply things that form the basis. They are not things that we have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. It's the same as if there is someone on the stand talking about relying on certain treatises, information that has been gleaned from someone else's observations that informs the opinion that they reach today. There's no one that will credibly argue, oh, we have to bring in the author of that treatise in order for the expert's testimony to not be hearsay. It is simply the basis, part of the basis for Detective Belknap's opinion. It is not the same, and there is an absolute false equivalence being drawn by counsel for Mr. Stilla at this point. So we would ask that, again, the court not exclude the bases for Detective Belknap's expert opinions about whether or not YSL is a criminal street gang and whether or not particular activity, and Rock Crew as well, qualifies as a criminal street gang, and whether or not particular acts qualify as criminal street gang activity. The court, as I stated, can instruct the jury that the only law that the jury is to consider is that coming from the court, and that the jury alone decides what weight to give Detective Belknap's testimony And if it so happens that the standard Detective Belknap employs to classify a group as a gang is in line with what the court instructs the jury must exist before the jury determines that a particular group is in fact a criminal street gang, then the jury finds Detective Belknap all that more credible. If it is out of line with what the court instructs the jury, then the jury finds that Detective Belknap is not credible. But they have to know the basis for his opinions in order to weigh his credibility.
All right, you gonna make a ruling? Let's hear the ruling. I think he's gonna lean on the government side. She did say something about the detectives here. Testifying about other people's opinions about the gang. I heard it too.
What else?
Yeah, she did.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Here's the thing. This is why I think that they have a good chance of getting out of this. Is that it literally is 1v. Let's how many? Okay, let me count here from the left to right. I'm gonna count the lawyers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's at least 8 lawyers. At least 8, not counting their assistants and maybe a legal clerk that's helping them too, but like 8 main lawyers for each of the defendants that I can count on the screen right now. She has to 1v8 every time they object because the defense gets, each one of them gets to object individually against something. And she got to defend, like, I ain't gonna hold you. That's a tough one. And I'm really surprised that it's just two attorneys for the prosecution here. That's it. Like they don't have a whole team. It's just these 2 ladies. Poor women. They're about to get just and this could be 2 guys. Like it's not a gender thing at all, right? I'm just saying 2 of any people in this situation against 8, bro. That's a rough one. You know what I mean?
Jury.
And I just did page 1 would be page 1, and then you go to page 2. So I did not 1, 2, the front and back. It's just page 1 is the front. Page 1 is the back. The back of page 1 is 2 is the next page.
Young Thug writing the numbers on the sheets. He's involved, man. I would do the same thing if I'm in that shit.
And I also would like if the state can, or the court can order say, but if the state could be good enough to email it to us. There's some pages I can't see, they're just too dark.
Which one are you talking about in terms of gang tattoos? There's several.
Gang hand signs.
Gang hand signs. I think that is some gentlemen that have there's a picture with a Georgia Bulldog t-shirt. Is that correct?
No, it's an RG, it says Rich Gang in white, and then an RG Rich Gang in red, where it's black and white. But I've just
The photograph from the indictment. Is that the one? If I may, Your Honor, I will hold or let the court hold the state's copy. Here.
What page is it on? Let's see. Oh, that's way in the back. Okay, all right. I think I've seen it. It's way in the back.
She made disappointed at the end. Yeah, she did. You should have a team
right,
doing
I
back
see.
work.
All right. One you're referring to gang hand
Oh
signs.
no.
Okay. What about it?
Your Honor, you already ruled on this issue about the law, but you also ruled on the dual witness, which we'll get to the jury instruction. That's Mr. Williams. That's a picture of Mr. Williams standing next to Mr. Copeland. That's in the indictment. How is Detective Belknap, the supposed expert, now coming in and telling the jury Mr. Williams is holding up a gang sign when A, is not even supposed to be talking about the evidence in the case if you're bifurcating it, and B, he shouldn't be telling the jurors that anyway. That is an intent. That would be for the jury. That's not beyond the ken of the jury. The next page, if you, not the back of it, but the next page, in your honor, Mr. Williams marked the pages, numbered them. May I approach if you need it? The page number says the...
Which page is it, sir?
It's page 20, but it's the next page what you were just looking at. Okay.
And Your Honor, if we could just clarify whether the issues are two separate ones so that we can address each one in turn rather than try to address 20 at the same time.
Page 20.
They are so disorganized, y'all. We'll skip ahead. We just need him to give a ruling here.
They need to give them a clean copy of that, so, yeah.
What happened? What? That's how they ended the stream. That's how they ended it? What? What was that? There's no ruling? No way. Are you kidding me? Where's the rest of it at? Nah, ain't no way. Hold up. There's no way they left us on a cliffhanger today. They did. What kind of shit is that? Wow. Wow, we got cheated, y'all. We got cucked. We got super cucked right there. Super cucked.